always last, even bring the fun to the masses. Rolling through 1-2, then beating every dungeon classes. With his goofy faces and voice all over the places, he hopes to never give up on his dreams. To bring joy and even the facts.
I literally saw on, it was on like Facebook.
Like big booty claps. He never gets angry, but sure can get scared. With anime on his side, is always prepared. Even though he's the grumpiest of bears. This bear is always cool in his share. Till the end, his dreams always be rare. Cause he's coming after you and hopes you'll be there. To hope you'll have a good day, a good night, and as always have a good life. Much love. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Much love. Have a good night, good life. Grumpy Bear has always been there, even when life isn't fair, even when no one is there. He's thinking of you with love and care. Even if he say like I care, he still give you a big hug with love and care. With his kind words, he's never afraid to share, giving you that good bear stare. Even his king, so beware. Cause every weekend at 6:30, he's bound to be there, straight sitting in his chair on every platform that he can share, just as long as he know you'll be there. So let him say this again to make it clear, though life isn't fair, he will be there just cause he wants you to be there, so he can wish you a good day, a good night, and as always have a good life. Much love. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Much love. Have a good night, good life. Grumpy Bear has always been there, even when life isn't fair, even when no one is there. He's thinking of you with love and care, even if you say like I.
And on top of that, I got this nice Cisco 48 port fucking PoE Switch sitting here. I'm like, by the time I'm ready to move to my retirement home, my man cave's gonna have a little room to the side with its own air conditioner. Cause it's gonna be hot in that motherfucker.
Yeah, it's about as sexy, as about as hot as our Bear Thoughts podcast. We do every Friday at 5 o'clock just Standard Time. Be sure to join us. Corvo is telling about how his job is donating some very fine piece of hardware to the Mick Corvo's Dream PC Foundation. So we're all juicing and getting goosebumps thinking about that. But anyways, thank you for joining this week. If you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. I would appreciate it. We do get any raids. If anybody does jump in, big numbers, be sure to say something in the chat. We've been having it a couple of times this past month or so, but most people don't say anything. I would love to see somebody been chatting and communicating, but that's not here or there. Corvo, how you doing this week? Hope everything's doing good for you.
Bro, I'm doing really good because things that me and you've discussed that I've been planning are finally coming to fruition, you know, and I'm starting to see things line up. So I'm actually in a pretty good mood. However, I do want to discuss something on a Nintendo topic today with you because and look at you, you're like, wait, this bitch is bringing up Nintendo. It ain't me. What the fuck?
I like Nintendo.
So I got a
no one say otherwise. I like Nintendo.
I love Nintendo. I do. But I was of the mind that I was not going to reach out for a Switch 2.
Same here.
And then Nintendo dangled a carrot in front of my face. And if it becomes a reality, I'm going to bite the fucking carrot because I know me.
Okay. What is this carrot?
The carrot is when they do the remake of Ocarina of Time, they're going to release a limited edition Ocarina of Time special Switch 2.
Oh, that is...
There it is. There it is.
Oh, that is a carrot.
And I'm like, you sons of bitches. And Stealthy just looked at me and said, just shut up and eat.
Okay, so was this announced on the like I didn't see anything about this. Honestly, I'm surprised I didn't see nothing about this. How did you hear about
Okay,
this announcement or this
so
possible
couple
leak?
couple of things. Due to some of the Nintendo groups that I'm a part of, and some of the ones that Stealthy's a part of, um, it's pretty much out there now that they're doing the remake for Ocarina. It's out there.
Okay.
Um, but some of the people in the groups that we're a part of also work for Nintendo. And there might have been some source leakage as to the fact that they're planning to release a limited edition Ocarina of Time Switch 2 to
Yeah.
go along with the release of Ocarina of Time remake. And I looked at her and I was like, damn, that's the carrot. She said, yep. And there you were sitting there the other day going, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get a Switch 2. I just don't, I don't. And she said, how's that carrot taste? I said, I'm about halfway through it. I'll let you know if I get to the stem.
Well, it's okay. So my main problem with the Nintendo Switch 2 was at start the fact that they increased the prices for their games from 60 to 70 to
Agreed.
$80 for games that are like you're not really, in my view, not really giving a price value to what you're claiming. So I'm like, okay, I'm checked out
Right,
of that.
right.
Then the second check was the classic of the, oh, you might have physical, but you also might have digital. And even if you buy physical, the full game, it might not even be on there. It might just be a cartridge
Right,
where the game is being downloaded
right,
to, or as an ID card that is just like,
right. Which is the same reason I was hesitant, but there's a lot of shit Legend of Zelda can get me to do, and
I
sometimes they get
know.
me to do shit I don't.
And like,
Okay, so here's the other thing. They also released a silent update to the Switch 2.
okay,
If you go into the settings on the Switch 2 now, there is a place where you can toggle on a setting that will run all of your Switch 1 games in higher graphic resolutions for the Switch 2.
that should have been a bog standard. Because you know they also released like, hey, here's Breath of the Wild. You want a high definition? Pay us an extra $20. Like, wait. You tell me I'm buying a higher fidelity graphic machine so I can play high depth, but only way I can play high depth if I pay you? What?
No. So what they did is, back when the Switch first came out, you could get almost two versions of every game. It was high def and regular,
Yeah.
right? Pretty much. What they did was they were like, "Hey, there's a lot of people that's been wanting high def or higher resolution, cleaner looking
I mean, not you, chat.
play out of their Switch 1 games, but they
The
don't
cat.
they don't want to buy because they can't afford to buy it." So they released an update to the Switch 2 that allows you to toggle that on and you get the higher def. Now, there are some reasons why they say they didn't do this with the Switch 1, and some of them makes okay, I'm not saying all of them do, but some of them do. So with the Switch 2, they did something a little different with the battery and the cooling systems and stuff like that. So the battery can handle more load for longer periods of times than like the original Switch
Yeah.
and not get as hot. Well, if they had done the same update on the Switch 1, your battery life would have severely been decreased by turning it on, and the overheat rate would have probably went up. So rather than release it and cause people to bitch about the console having that issue, they chose to wait until they did a new console that could handle it and then push the update on it.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting.
So I'm not saying that it justifies the hey, buy an HD or blah blah blah, but it kind of explains why they didn't want to do it on the Switch 1
Hmm.
because of the hardware. So I'm not going to say I give them a pass on it, but I can say that I have a different understanding for what they were trying.
Yeah. It makes some sense. I just And of course, to top it all off, Nintendo has almost stated outright, and it's one thing to speak down to your customers. I don't think you should ever do that because that's like almost um suicidal for your business. But they pretty much stated in a lot of ways like you won't own you won't own your console, you won't own it. You're just renting it, and you won't own your games. You're just renting it. Because if they feel like you do anything to it, or that you make any adjustments, or you change anything, or you do anything to their product, they will straight up just block all your shit and don't give a damn. If you are a paying customer and bought the product, once they do it, that's done. And even if you try to sell it to somebody, they're also gonna get screwed. So like, imagine if somebody bought
Sorry about that.
yeah, imagine somebody bought this limited edition Zelda, and then they did something to piss off Nintendo, and Nintendo goes, and that entire console now is just a a, a paperweight.
A brick.
Yeah, a brick.
Right.
Congratulations. Now that person, no one can have that console now. No one. No one can have that console now. It is completely fucked forevermore. And that will suck because I might be one of those people because, like I told you, I have never in all my years have ever owned a day one console. But I did buy the day one special edition Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom LED version, but that wasn't even that console wasn't brand new. The console was old, but it was just a special edition. But I like buying used because I normally can afford used. So if I were to buy a used version of that console, this Zelda not Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time Switch 2 edition, I might get fucked.
You might. It depends on what the other person did with it first.
Yes, and that sucks.
So, yeah, it does suck. It does suck. I'm not gonna say it doesn't, but
It's not like I can contact Nintendo going, hey, here's my receipt. I bought this from this person. It is now mine. I didn't do this to this console. And Nintendo will go, oh, we understand. We'll open it for you. Make it available to me. No, they were just like, oh well. We already got the money, right? We're not worried about the after sale because Nintendo has like kind of thing about used games making them not earn a profit, but they like used games from GameStop because GameStop still makes not GameStop, Nintendo still makes profit off of used games because every used game they sell, they get a cut of it. So like
they get a percentage. But they still do that in most shops that sell. Well, I'd say almost all the shops that sell used games like that have to pay a certain fee.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, so they make money off of it. The only places I could think of that they would have that problem would be like me selling you a game outside of there,
Facebook,
or if
Craigslist,
eBay, or you went to like a Google or fucking Goodwill and pick one.
Yeah.
But if you're going to an actual game store, chances are they're still making a profit off of it.
Yeah. So it's really hard to say. What up there, Ala? Sorry, I can't say your name right. Ali Thompson.
Hi.
What's up? We're talking about Nintendo right now, and Nintendo Switch 2, and possibly the maybe Ocarina of Time special edition or the remaster. Are they gonna make it in? I'm just wondering now. Are they gonna make it maybe in the Breath of the Wild engine? Because honestly,
love the content, sir.
That would be so awesome if they took Ocarina of Time.
Thank you for liking the content.
I really appreciate that big immense time. Sorry, but I'm just in my thoughts here. I'm just like, if they make Ocarina of Time using the Breath of the Wild engine, I call it engine because they pretty much made Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Like they just took Breath of the Wild and just went, yeah, continuation. They just take the Ocarina of Time and use the, I guess, the foundation, the engine, the world, whatever, of Breath of the Wild, and just go, okay, just redo the map, use a lot of the assets, make some new skins, make some new things, and put it in that thing. Could you imagine playing Ocarina of Time in that kind of aspect?
Let me tell you what I imagine. I imagine that I would
Appreciate the raid, by the way.
vacation. I would take vacation from work because I wouldn't come out of it until I was done. Um, and the sad part is over the past few months, I've been testing a bunch of different types of energy drinks, and where I used to only have 1 or 2, I found several that I like now, so I can keep going for a while. Um,
So you would, so
yeah,
you wouldn't want it in the more of the I wouldn't say a sandbox, but like the original Rock Arena of Time was kind of a sandboxy. You could go anywhere
well,
you want
it
to.
kinda was, and it kinda wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
It was open from the standpoint that anything that was open in that area you could go to.
yeah,
So, like, you could leave the forest and go to the field Hyrule Fields, Death Mountain. You could go to, Lake Hylia, all those places anytime you wanted to at the beginning of the game. You couldn't get very far if you hadn't accomplished certain parts of the quest,
yeah.
but that's like that in every fucking game. Um, the only place that was kinda locked off until you really did a specific thing was the desert,
Hmm.
because you couldn't get to the desert without doing a lot of shit. Um, so I could see it being like that.
Yeah.
You
And
only need a couple.
you know, kind of, I was thinking about this the other
You
day.
only need
Like the first actual
those
like
people.
fully open world game.
The
And we've been having
first
open world games for years, and I mostly most people never thought about it at all. I'm talking about like since like the early 2000s having open world. And now when I say open world, I mean World of Warcraft. That game is literally no loading screen. You go from one zone to the next zone to the next zone to the next zone. Nothing stopping you, nothing preventing it. You could just go
right.
and you would die.
Yep.
But most people don't call World of Warcraft open world. Nobody called it
Nope.
open world back then. It was just
Nope.
here's World of Warcraft, go where you want. And
Right, right. Well, and I feel like that because I sit there and listen to people and they're like, "Oh, well, the first true open world Legend of Zelda was Breath of the Wild." I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that
mhm,
because like Twilight Princess, you might have got turned into a wolf whether you wanted to or not, depending on where you were at. But you could go there.
yeah,
Fucking up, it was up to you as to whether you want to be dumb enough and go there before you were supposed to. And it's like that with Skyward Sword was like that. So once you did that first plunge to the ground, you could go back and forth all the fuck you wanted to, anywhere you wanted to go, as long as had whatever key or whatever it was to open whatever locked door. And once you opened it, it was fucking open. You
yeah.
could go back and forth all you wanted to.
So, and that's what like the creator of Zelda has openly stated that he wants his games, at least like some of the
Said,
first games he ever came out with.
cheapest viewers remove the space
Oh,
KTZ or
Jesus. But like he wanted his games to like pretty much you didn't have a set location or set path that you can go to. And some of his first
Right.
games, like on the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, which was I think it was what's the first one on Super Nintendo? Ocarina of
The
Time?
very first no, on Super Nintendo, I think it was Ocarina of Time, but on the original NES, you had The Legend of Zelda, and then you had The Adventures of a Link, I think was the second one,
Yeah,
and they were both gold cartridges, which I actually still have.
yeah,
Um, and they didn't tell you even in them where you went first.
yeah,
You just struck out and you figured that shit out. You could go to the wrong place and die
yeah.
real easy.
And like,
Real easy.
but it was also the same kind of like the rock paper scissors kind of like thing. You could go defeat the rock without getting paper first, and you could beat rock without paper. But it was suggested you went to go get paper so you could beat rock. And a lot of Zelda games, there were a lot of items that you could use on bosses. If you were to go there first and get said item, you could then beat boss with the
Right.
item.
But
Well,
the
you didn't
thing
have
is
to.
a lot of times but the thing is a lot of times you didn't even know you needed or you could get recommended items until later and you accidentally stumbled across it. You're like, fuck, that would have helped like 2 bosses ago.
Yeah.
And then the next time you played it, you're like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna go get this first and then do that,
Yeah, yeah.
Like the very first Legend of Zelda, the first castle is the one with the horse head dude, right?
Yeah.
Well, there you can go straight over there and fuck with him if you want to, and you can beat him. However, there are things that you find later that you could do that make it a lot easier. Like if you play and kill some of the other mobs and level him up, because there was a level up system in that second one that allowed you to like upgrade your jump or upgrade your stab attack or whatever. If you upgraded that, you find out that hell, I could kill him a whole lot easier, you know?
Yeah. And then that's kind of the
But
reason
you
why I
didn't
love
know
Mega
that.
Man. Yeah, yeah. You didn't know
You
that at
know,
all.
you
Like
didn't know that shit till like 2 castles later, and you're like, fuck, if I'd have just ground out a little bit right at the beginning of this bitch, everything would have been easier.
yeah, like get the fire wand, do more damage to the boss, get the hook shot, you might actually stun the boss, you get the boomerang, you could do 2 damage, or even if he's behind the wall, you can still hit him. There's just some items you needed. And I think if I don't know what they even call the Breath of the Wild, but if they use Breath of the Wild as the foundation and turn some of their old games using the Breath of the Wild's foundations, I think they could make some real bangers.
Could you imagine going back and doing Majora's Mask in that engine?
Oh yeah. Come on.
That would be great. I would love to see Wind Waker in that engine.
Oh yeah, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, not Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker. I think Twilight Princess would be just somebody everybody would want, but I think Twilight Princess, even to this day, still stands up the test of time. Like you wouldn't
It
need
does.
to, but it still
It
stands up
does.
real good.
It does. And I was laughing because I don't know how true this part is, okay? I'm just going to tell you something that I read. So they were talking about, they're doing a live action Legend of Zelda movie, right? And somebody's like, okay, well, if we were going to pick a Legend of Zelda to make an actual real Legend of Zelda anime, which one would we pick? And of course, everybody's divided. Half everybody says Ocarina of Time. The other half's like, fuck that. It would be Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, why would it be Twilight Princess? And they're like, it's more gritty. It's more dark. It's more of all the things that popular anime is
Yeah.
than Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time, while it's a great story, it doesn't have that cool factor. He's going to turn into a wolf.
Yeah.
He's gonna look, older and more ready for shit. He's gonna, look more the part. And so I was reading, and like I said, I don't know if this is true or not, because this was not out of any of the groups I followed, but somebody literally said that they heard that someone from Nintendo had already said if they were to make an anime, it would be based on Twilight Princess because it is more of a anime-esque style story and
Yeah, that's why
world.
when they made the manga for Twilight Princess, it wasn't worth like 2 books. It was worth like 12 or
Exactly, and
more.
that's another thing. That's another thing that they cited. They're like, look at the manga. They couldn't keep this shit on the shelf, and they kept going for years. They just kept putting out books.
Yeah. And
Like fuck.
it wasn't just 2 volumes and then done with it and try to speed run from the beginning to the end like the other books did. I have some of them. Well, I have a lot of them, not all of them, but I have a lot of them. So, and that would be an easy storyboard too. It just you can't take a game and almost any video game and make a 2-part series of a video game and go done. Video games are way longer than that. Way bigger than that. Even if you go off the main plot and forget all side stories, even if you try to do that, you still couldn't do a 2-part book in almost any video game. You name it, I guarantee you could not make a single book or 2
Oh,
books
dude,
and
could
be
you
done with
imagine
it.
someone trying to condense like Final Fantasy 7 or 9 or 8 or any of that into 2 manga books? Here you go. This is it. But motherfucker, I didn't. Half of the shit's not here.
Like, only way you can maybe catch me on is like, okay, the original Mario, what story was there? Okay, you got me, but I bet if you put it, like, you actually put a
Save
story
the
there.
princess.
Yeah.
Save the princess.
You can probably do that
and
with
at the
one
end of
book.
and you can, you know what's funny is you could do that in like you could do a manga a book for each world, and at the end of each world until you get the last one, it's like, sorry, our princess is in another castle. Last sentence.
Okay, here's a little. Okay, we can jump off this little top. Kind of like not really jump off, but like trying to talk about this too. Do you think a lot of video games are too focused nowadays on story rather than you being this part, being the story? You know what I'm saying? Like this, like they're. I heard someone say the other day, like there's too many video games that are story games, and there's not many actual games that you are actually the story and
So
you are
I
playing it.
feel it. I'm gonna put on my devil's advocate hat for this because I know how I feel,
Uh huh.
but I also know how I understand how some other people. Okay.
Okay.
So I get it. A lot of people look at games and they say, hey, the game is supposed to be you completing this. It's a game, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then there's people who are like, but the game is the story, the adventure, what causes it and stuff. So you have two different modes of thinking. So, like for example, um, you look at the original Doom. The original Doom, there wasn't a whole lot of story other than, hey, this shit happened. This is you, and you played a game. You killed everything to survive. That's all you did. Okay.
Okay.
Then you have games that are like Final Fantasy IX, where there's all this beautiful story. There's this beautiful rendition,
Appreciate the
this
rating, Red
world,
by the way.
and everything. And so I say what I feel like is you have people out there that are what I call RPG fans, role
Which
playing fans.
which people have noticed the RPG genre has been getting less and less each year. They're releasing RPG games, which is
And then you have the
oh
people that are more along the lines of put me in here, coach, show me what I gotta kill to get there, you know?
yeah.
And so it's hard for me to sit here and say one way or the other is right because I fall in the middle of those. Okay. I have days where I want story. I
Yeah.
want the content. So like those days, more often than not, you know this, you will either find a Legend of Zelda or a Final Fantasy. That's what I'm playing because I want story with my gameplay.
Yeah.
Then there's days where I don't give a fuck about the story. I just want to complete some shit. Then you'll find me on Destiny or something along those lines because I'm killing shit and getting shit done. I'm taking care of business. That's what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Okay. Not saying Destiny doesn't have a story because it very much does. But I'm gonna be real. Most people don't play Destiny for the story. Now, there are a few people, few pockets of people, like I know one individual who has read pretty much every piece of lore that has been put out on the universe of Destiny and can tell you who some of the NCPs had relationships with because he read all of the lore.
You
You
know,
know?
that's me with
Um,
almost World of Warcraft. I almost listened to every single
so
audiobook from World of
like
Warcraft.
I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there was literally in Destiny, Mara Sov literally summoned Shax to her fucking chambers one night. Just he was there. He didn't get
Yeah.
a choice. Okay. Boom, you're there. She put the whammy on his ass. Now that shit, and when you're playing the game, nowhere in there do you ever hear Shax reference that shit or Mara reference it. But it's
Uh
in the lore you collect while you're playing the game.
mhm.
So somebody that I know sit and read every fucking one of them things and found that shit. And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Well, that explains why one of his horns on his helmets broke off. He couldn't hold on to it."
Yeah. And you know, you seen I playing Strix the newest Strix game, Cursed Blade or something like that. And I'm learning the story as I'm playing, right? There's not been a lot of
Right.
cutscenes, there's not a lot of that going on. And World of Warcraft, I heard someone, one of the writers or one of the makers of World of Warcraft said, the story is the world. That's the story. You don't know about the story until you go out into the world and you read a couple of things from the quest givers and a couple little snippets from here and there. But there's actually like no real cut scenes. There's no real cinematic moments unless you get to some of the major bosses, and then those they show up a little bit, but they're not fully there. So the world is the story, and you're going
Right.
out and discovering it. But a lot of games nowadays are like, here's the plot, here's the story, cutscene, 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 gameplay, cutscene, cutscene, gameplay, cutscene, cutscene, gameplay. And I I always thought, like, what if movies were interactive where people can choose what happens in the movies? How weird would that be? Would that make it more interesting if people could be more involved in the story of a movie?
And
Video
they have
games are
done
like
they
that
have done a
nowadays.
few they've done a few movies like that
Yeah.
where you literally they make the movie with like 6 or 7 different endings, and you're sitting there watching it, and while you're watching it, you'll get prompted, "Hey, what the fuck do you wanna do here?" And you'll click the button. That'll happen, and then
Mhm.
that changes where you're going in the movie and stuff. They've made a few of those, but I don't know, man. I like both styles of games. It
Mhm.
just depends on what mood I'm in, and it's kinda like that with, okay, so you remember me playing, The Quarry, right?
Yes.
That was a game, but it wasn't a game like, "Hey, let me go kill shit," or nothing like that. It had some quick time things that you had to do to avoid either being bitten or whatever, what right? But it was mainly about the decisions you made as you watched the game unfold. And
Okay.
that took you down a path. That changed what your outcome was. So I see I can see validation in all 3 of those forms, and I don't have a problem with any of them. I would hate to see any one of the 3, um, decrease in sales or the amount that we get.
Yeah.
But again, there are those diehards out there that are like, "Give me all the, RPG, or give me all the fucking, shoot 'em up, bang bangs, first persons, or give me all the let me make the decision and just watch it happen." You got those types of people out there, and I'm not saying that's wrong or right, but what I feel like is don't don't ruin everybody else's experience just because you want more of what you personally prefer.
Yeah.
Okay, you
And
still get what you prefer.
yeah.
Let them have what they prefer.
And then this comes about because I forget what video game critics magazine it was. It might have been Kotaku. It might have been someone else. Sorry for this one. So recently, a game called Crimson Desert came out. The people that made Black Desert, and they made
Yep.
a Witcher-like game. Now, when it launched, there was some controller problems, a little bit of bugs, and the story wasn't that deep. But it was like, think Skyrim, right? You went out in the world and you
Yep.
discovered the story. You learned the story
Right.
through the gameplay, and the game was it looked really good. It was a beautiful, it is a beautiful game because it's still recently new. It's very pretty. The artwork's very pretty. The gameplay's gotten better because they fixed the controller problems, some of the controller problems, storage problems. They fixed things within like the first 3 days of the game launch, which is for most game developers is a huge W in my opinion, because most of them just go, we'll fix it eventually, maybe a year, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking at, Grand Theft Auto here, still having bugs in their games, and it's been well over decades since they fixed some of those bugs. But and then somebody criticized the game because they were trying and equate it to something like Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk video game, Cyberpunk 26. What's the name of Cyberpunk? Something. I had the game 2077. Jesus Christ, I can't remember the name of one of the games I actually own.
I don't know. I never played a lot of Cyberpunk, to be honest.
Cyberpunk 2077. That's correct. So that game, Cyberpunk 2027, there's a lot of cutscenes. There's a lot of like you are playing pretty much a movie that's a video game. It's really, really good. If you're like, even I didn't think I might like it at first, and I got it because I was watching people play. I'm like, this thing looks awesome, and we don't play this kind of games at all because I'm not a big car shooter kind of game kind of person. It was like it's like Grand Theft Auto, but in the future version. And I'm like, I'm gonna give this game a shot. So they're trying to equate it to this, which is heavily story driven, heavily story driven. But this game, Crimson Death, is not heavily story driven. So because it wasn't heavily story driven, person gave it a low score. I'm going, that's not fair because you're trying to it's like an apple to banana. It's not the same thing. They're close, but
Right,
not the same
right,
thing.
right.
You gave a low score because
It's
it
like,
didn't
yeah,
match
because
your.
you're not. It's like, for example, you're not gonna compare fucking Halo to Legend of Zelda. That's apples and oranges. It's not the same.
Mhm. Well, I try to like make sure that like both hang from a tree, and but one's a fruit, one's a berry apparently. Didn't know bananas were berries. So yeah, I was just like, this game is it like I don't own the game, but if I had the game, I think I would have fun playing Crimson Desert. It has that very much Skyrim aesthetic that I actually loved Skyrim when it came out. I loved the Oblivion games, even though they were really hard to play. um, this guy gave it a low score, and then even when he's like, he made like they make a post, like a 2 more posts afterwards. Like even when they fixed the problems that the game was having, he still could not admit that the game was good. He still could not just say outright, like, I was wrong. These little problems weren't big deal. It's not my type of game. So I'm just say I don't like it. I'm gonna give a low score. What everybody else is now giving it high praises. And again, a launch of a video game can be bad. And I understand bad scores, but if the developers go in 3 days and fix all the problems, I think that's doing great rather than.
But it's something that I've noticed though over the years of me playing video games. There are games that came out when I was younger that everybody absolutely fucking hated.
Mhm.
But now, 20 something years later, everybody's like, this is the greatest shit I've ever played. And you're like, wait, what? How the
Where have
fuck?
you been?
They're like, oh, this is a classic. This is amazing. You're like, but ain't y'all the same fuckers that was just saying, like, when it first come out that it's not?
Yeah, so even me and my nephews are starting to get into like Super Nintendo and 64 games and get into some of the classic games because man, like some of those you just can't, well, you can replicate it, but it's really hard to hit that same feel that those old classic games give out. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of weird that some people were just like, yeah, there's no good games nowadays. There is ones. You just don't listen to the critics online. Maybe watch somebody, which I think is totally true. I think nowadays you don't read a magazine or articles no more. You go watch somebody play the game. You go watch someone actually play the game online
Yeah.
videos
Well, I mean,
or a stream, and then
I'm
there's your
not, yeah,
review.
yeah. So I agree with that because a lot of times nowadays, I mean, if I want to look at if I want to know if I want to play a game or not, I know what style and view and shit that I like in certain types of games. So, like, I will go if I'm not caring about the game being spoiled, or any spoiled, I will check out some actual gameplay.
Yeah,
However, if it's a game like a franchise, a well-known franchise, something that I've played a lot of and I don't want to know anything about, chances are I'll just buy it. So, like, for example, I don't go and look at gameplay for Metroid games anymore because it's either going to be a side scroller, a first person shooter.
yeah,
Okay, one of the two. I'm fine with either one, and I love the franchise, so I'll go and just buy it and play it. It's the same thing with like Mario. I know that if it's based on the classic Mario engine, it's going to be a side scroller. If it's not, then it's going to be like some kind of a 3D over the shoulder type, right?
yeah,
Um, but the only time you'll catch me checking a game like that now is if it's a brand new franchise, something I've never seen before, and it sounds good to me, but I'm not sure that I'm gonna like the gameplay, then I might check a little bit of it out. But I just had a thought. So here's a perfect middle of the road game. And when we were talking about people that are like, "Ooh, I want story," or "Ooh, I want just to play a game," right?
Okay.
So here's a game that I know for a fact that both sides of that coin have played the shit out of, and it's called Dishonored.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because with Dishonored, you can play that game without giving a shit about the story. You can go through there and kill all kinds of motherfuckers and just go through it, right? And I know people that's done that. And then there's the story side of it that's actually pretty fucking deep, pretty intense. That the story driven person goes and plays it for. So I mean, there are games out there that meet both
What if you could make
criteria
a
too.
song using
Okay. And do you think that game has a good balance of it?
I do. I really do. Because I mean, from a story aspect, you got betrayal, you've got empathy or sympathy, you got um you got drive to complete, to do certain things. You got all those things. You have decisions you have to make.
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna kill this motherfucker or am I just gonna incapacitate him and let him be punished? Um, you have those things, or on the flip side, you can log in and play it just like any other first person, and you can just kill shit out of everybody between you and the end of the game,
See,
and still get there.
I like that aspect because I feel like at that point you have a little more control of where the story goes and where the story leads to. A lot of stories, and I know you've seen this yourself too, some stories just shoehorn you straight into what they think should happen or what they think that the player would do. Like I've had times, how many times have you seen this? You go into a story and you are beating the Jesus out of the boss. You are winning.
Don't do
Hands
that.
down, nothing's
You're done
you
with that.
can't lose at all to this boss. But as soon as you're about to beat the boss, it cuts over to a cutscene, and now you're getting your ass kicked. Like, wait, no. If it was me in that story, that boss would be dead because I was clearly whooping his ass. And that's just like the shoehorn you. Like, you have no control of the outcome of the story until the very end of the story.
And that's one of the things that drew me to that game. And it's one of my favorite games. I've played it multiple times. What drew me to it was the fact that
yeah.
but what drew me to it was the fact that I wasn't just there's like 3 different outcomes for that game. And it's largely based on how you play the game is how those outcomes are going to turn out. And I mean, you even get to a point where there are key individuals, 3 or 4 key individuals in that game, that you will come to a point where you have the option to either kill them outright, just incapacitate them to achieve whatever objective you are doing right now, or set them up to be punished by their own peers.
Yeah.
Where, okay, that was an awesome thing when I seen it. Because I'm like, wait, I don't have to just go in and go be like, hey, y'all, bitch, you gotta die. I get to choose how this shit works.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's literally one guy, I'm not gonna lie, even if I'm planning to kill everybody when I play, there's this one dude that I don't kill. I purposely incapacitate his ass, take him to a chair and brand him with a brand that makes him a traitor.
Yeah.
And leave him there for all of his subordinates to find and listen to him bitch as he gets locked up. Because it's like poetic justice to me. I just sit up in the rafters like, ha ha, fuck you.
Yeah. And again, I think video games should be more focused on player choice. I think that should be almost in every game, but like there is some games that are just they're movies. They're movies that you take participation in, but overall it's a movie with just the gameplay mechanics, and you can't judge that style of game to any other game because, well, that's its own little genre, right? And I was just thinking, man, I miss the JRPG games that a lot of us grew up on, and they're getting fewer and fewer. And yeah, some of those games are still shoehorned, but I don't see any reason why games like that should go by the wayside, because of most games nowadays are almost forced to be online, always going, always online, and never making any progression. I guess something has her input.
Babe?
Did you butt die you?
No, we're doing a podcast. We thought you were calling because you had an opinion. Okay. Well, no, we're talking about people comparing different, I guess you would call them genres of games to each other, and it not really being fair to compare, like, say, a first-person straight-up killer, game to, like, a freaking RPG, because it's like two different styles of gaming.
It might look similar, but they're not.
Anyways, I agree, though. I think you can compare. Excuse me. I don't think you can compare realistically an apple to an orange, or a banana to a fucking pineapple. You know what I mean? It's just, it's not the same.
Yeah, you may call it. It might be underneath the same, like, category of, in this case, fruit, or in this case, fantasy, but it's not the same game. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I say it's a different. They're all games.
Yeah,
but they're different styles of game.
Yeah. Like, I don't care if you're running around in one world with a gun in your hand, and the other world you're running around with a sword in your hand. You may be running around the world, but it's not the same. They're not the same. So, okay. But speaking of things that are not fair, you remember a while back I told you about this, about certain card companies trying to tell pretty much Japan what they could and couldn't sell. And people use certain their cards to be able to make purchases of said things of Japan and so on.
Yep.
Well, they also tried that with Subscribe Star, which is pretty much like a Patreon. And what happened here was they were trying to do the same thing, going, hey, your artists, your people that are on your platform that are making purchases using your Subscribe Star feature like Patreon to buy and purchase or get things from you and from, random creators. You can't use our MasterCards or our Visa, whatever, on your store no more unless you remove the things that we don't like from your platform. Well, Subscribe Star said, fuck you. We'll find a new method for where people can put money into it, and then they take that money and then pay people with that. So on those things. But then, and this is one of the very few times, I'll make this short and brief. The government said, no, also you can fuck off with that Visa and MasterCard. You're not doing that. You're not allowed to do that. Fuck you. People can buy what they want with their money. I'm sorry, but that's a W to me. Cause if I want to buy something online and you don't like it, fuck you. It's my money. I can buy it if I want to. And I'm thinking finally somebody step up to these card companies, because this was a worry for me, because I was worried because they were doing it for mangas too and anime, things I really love. And if you tell me I can't buy that now with my own money just because I'm giving you the permission to hold my money, Visa, and then I go, okay, Visa, give them my money, and you say no because I don't like that. I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. But someone's finally putting a stop to it. And someone's standing up to them. So, like, again, so good news. These are good things I think that should be coming about. Because you imagine, Corvo, if you wanted to buy your dog and someone says, I don't think those dogs should be bred. I think they should all be put down and killed. Because Lily had a veterinarian told me this before. And because I don't think this dog should be bred and be born and whatnot, and they should all just die, you can't buy it.
Stealthy saying, Stealthy,
I'm letting her say this speak.
yeah, yeah. Stealthy saying that in most cases, if a veterinarian is telling you something like that, they're probably looking at um
The issues with them.
the issues with the dogs and stuff, and that it's not really fair to them to have to make them have those issues.
Hmm.
At the same time, I get what you're trying to say. You're saying it's kind of like if I was to want to go and buy the Switch 2 and I was going to use my Visa card, and Visa's like, "Fuck that. We don't like Nintendo. You can't use your Visa card." I'm like, "But it's my fucking money." They're like,
Hmm.
"No, no, now that would be. You're right. That's completely um bullshit."
Yeah.
Um, you know, but I mean, it'd be like going to a fucking theme park and they're like, "Hey, this theme park's sponsored by American Express, but you don't have an American Express card. So you can't use your Visa, your MasterCard, or your bank card or any of that shit here because we don't like any of those." And you're like, "But bitch, it's my money and it spends the same. Doesn't matter what backer is on
Yeah.
it."
The green is
Yeah.
still the same. So yeah, I was just fascinated at how we were so like, cause theme of all people, the one company that pretty much could not lose, bowed down to MasterCard and Visa and removed a lot of adult video games, say that, adult video games from their platform because the companies were saying, "Hey, we won't let people buy games from your platform through your platform to the customers using our product, Visa, MasterCard, to buy these games unless you remove those things." And lo and behold, Steam removed them. And I was like, that's between the adults, right? Like if the adults give money and buy things, but then if your
Say that,
kids
say that again. Say that again, sweetie. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
yeah, but like if your kids get a hold of your Visa and MasterCard and buys those games, who's at fault then?
I mean, if that's how it happened.
That's
But
how it
now you
happened.
also have, well, not always.
Yeah, but like,
I
but
mean, there were kids that
they were saying kids were buying these games. I'm like,
well, no, no, no. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying kids weren't buying the game, but it doesn't mean that the kid got a hold of your card. So
yeah,
I know for a fact that there was a kid that stole card information via online through hacking from
mm,
someone
yeah,
and bought this shit. Now, that's not the card holder's fault.
yeah, yeah,
So you, yeah, it's different. I would say it'd be different if like one of my kids comes along and grabs my card because I'm not paying attention to it and buys shit. That's an on me thing.
yeah,
But if I'm sitting at my house and a kid 5 streets over hacks me and steals my card information, that's not on me.
yeah.
That's a him thing.
Mm,
So it depends on the situation, I guess, as to whether that argument is true or not.
yeah. But the argument for them, and usually the argument, it's like almost like a silver bullet. I feel like too many people fall for. It's like, what about the kids? Like, Jesus Christ, use them as a shield to get your way every time. If a kid gets a hold of a porno game and starts playing it, and mommy and daddy don't find out about it, the kid was fucking sneaky. I've done bad things when I was younger too. I looked at things I wasn't supposed to, but it's one of those things that you almost I can't you can stop, but it's really hard to stop. They're eventually gonna find out about it, and when they do find out about it, it's always my rule: would you rather them find out through some other media or someone else, or rather than find out through you, the parent of the child? And I think the parent should let the kid know because that they're safer through the parent than finding it out through some stranger or something online. That's just my opinion. What?
Stealthy said The problem is that the lazy parents run the economy right now. You know, the ones that don't pay attention to what their kids are
Yeah,
doing and shit.
true,
So that's the
true.
problem. So for an example, I mean, you know me and Stealthy's policy.
Yep.
When it comes to things, we don't we inform our kids of a lot of things. Like there's a lot of parents that wouldn't tell a kid if there was a medical scare on one of the parents, you know,
Yeah.
because they don't want to worry the kids and they don't want to scare them. But I don't look at it that way. If I have something wrong with me, that directly affects their life.
Yeah.
And even though it may even
Yeah, it's in your chat. Jesus, she has a long spill for this one.
okay, so I'm gonna depoliticalize what she just said.
Yeah.
But you got the parents out there that are as she calls them pearl clutchers.
Yeah.
That they want. I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe what she said without being political.
Please do.
Because there was the point was made, but it's easier made with the political, you know,
Yeah.
attributes put in it. But you got the people out there that are making the money
Mm-hmm.
that's calling the shots, right?
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily at home watching their children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like where me and Stealthy are like, hey, when I had when I had my scare,
Yeah.
okay, we were open and honest with the kids about it. Because had something happened, it would have directly affected them. Now, a lot of people would say you shouldn't do that. It puts undue stress on your kids. It puts worry on your kids. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, as a right. So hold on. I'm getting there. But at the same time, I say to those same people, do you not think a sudden change in behavior, the way you routine, or the fact that they just wake up one day, you might not be there and they don't even fucking know why or knew that there was a possibility of it happen, wouldn't be a larger interruption to their life
Yeah.
than that?
There's literally been cases of kids going and having shocks, and when they had shocks, it literally changed their body.
As a child who went from a situation where everything was fine with a parent to waking up and the parent was gone, literally overnight, I can tell you, it is far fucking worse to not know and then boom, there it is, than to know that there is something that could happen and have a chance to kind of get yourself used to the idea that something could happen, than to just wake up and be like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's a shock.
Yeah, so I don't ever want my children to be out of the know because I didn't tell them.
Yeah.
It's a different story. It's a different story if you don't know yourself and it happens and it's a shock to them. You couldn't tell them because you didn't fucking.
Yeah.
But if you knew and you didn't tell them, I mean,
yeah, and the same thing
you're
goes
kind
to
of responsible.
Yeah, and the same thing goes toward, you know, if kids ever go out there and do adult things,
right?
And then they go out and do something, and those adult things come with the consequences, and you didn't let the kids find out about it. It's gonna be a big shock, because especially if
right, and I know this does not line up with everybody's parenting style, and I completely understand that. But I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, My mother knew there were going to be things I was going to do with or without her permission.
Yeah.
Okay. She also knew that being the case, it was safer for me to try to do some of these things in a safe and a controlled environment, right?
Yeah. Or supervised.
So she took steps to make sure that even if I was going to do these things, the environment that I was in was controlled and safe.
Yeah. Okay.
I might not have should have been doing them. Not saying I should. But I was going to do them whether I had a safe environment or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say this I will say this from the standpoint of I thank my mother from the standpoint that even though I shouldn't have done some of the shit I did, she did her best to make sure that when I did it in a safe place where I would not be hurt.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about my children. I will say that I have told my son, I said, I know that at some point in your life, you're going to get old enough to drink. Okay. And I know that you are going to drink. But I want you to understand that at any given time, if you feel like it's an unsafe situation to drive, or that the place that you may be doing this is unsafe, you have two options. You can always call me to come get you.
Yeah.
Or you can change the venue to a location that Dad can help you control the environment.
Yeah.
So that you're safe and your friends are safe.
Yeah. I watched a video of a guy literally when his son became of age. What he did was he drank with them so he could learn his son's cutoff point. Like when he was one of the 4 stages of drunk, which I don't remember what they were, but like to help him learn, like, hey, this much is your cutoff point. When you get there, you stop. I'm gonna teach you that. Then I'm gonna teach you afterwards when you go past it what happens. And
well, and the thing is I got lucky because there were more than one adult in my circle when I was growing up that felt like, hey, the kids are going to do what they're going to fucking do. We might as well try to make it as safe as possible. And I'm not going to say this is right. But there were times where a specific adult who owned a large field of land would purposely set up the bonfire in places for us to have tents popped up.
Yeah.
So that we could do whatever partying we were going to do in a safe location and take everybody's keys from them. And you could not have them back until the next morning.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. All right.
You know,
I didn't have that. Then again, I was always with my family when I drank. Always, usually. And if every time I was not with my family, it was not a good time. So
I think, and see that goes down a different rabbit hole. Me and you can talk about later about something you said about drinking at one point that I think causes some of your stuff and may be different in a different environment. But that's a different time. That's a different subject.
All right. So here's this one more, which by the way, I sent you something. I'm about to send you something. The last thing I'm sending you is something I think me and you probably should get our hands on since we both do 3D printing. I think this would be a little great. It's literally liquid masking tape. And you ever painted something and you know how pain in the ass it is to get in a certain area with masking tape. This stuff will come in real handy because you literally paint it on, and once it's dry, you peel it off. But okay. The last one I want to talk about is Crunchyroll. And I think a lot of people are not talking about this because I think they're trying to sweep it underneath the table. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think you should be called out for things you sweep underneath the table. So Crunchyroll is, for those that do not know, Crunchyroll has been going down the shitter for the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, doing a lot of things, removing some things, especially they're like removing their any anime with ads and then making that behind a paywall and then making the higher tier without ads and so on and so on. So Crunchyroll got hacked. And we normally get hacked by a company. You're supposed to divulge that kind of things, right? Because people's information, of course, got stolen. And it wasn't just like the information, their card information got stolen. Because some reason, for all the infinite wisdom, Crunchyroll thought, not all, but a lot of them were full card information, full numbers, not the last 4 digits. And of course, the people that hacked them were trying to blackmail them, or is trying to blackmail them. But Crunchyroll is ignoring the blackmail. That these people have full credit card and Visa card, debit cards, information, names, address, and card information. And Crunchyroll isn't doing nothing about it. As of yet.
Okay. The fuck?
And has been verified by other hackers. So this is not just like some bluff. No. This has been verified. And Crunchyroll is going, I don't see you. Don't see you. Nope. You didn't take the person's information that was underneath our system that we should have deleted. Because you're not supposed to hold that information?
Well, if you click the save button, you gave them permission.
Yeah.
Anytime you click save payment save payment information for a subscription or anything like that, you're giving them permission to hold on to that information so you don't have to put it in again. However, they are supposed to have some serious encryption on them. If they didn't, that is where they fell down.
Or save the last 4 digits of the card information, not the full thing.
You can't do the last 4.
Can't do
the last 4. You have to do the full card because there's no way for them to continue to, do your monthly charge only off of the last 4.
Yeah,
you have to have the full number and the security pin to be able to charge that card. So they had to hold it if you were telling them to. The only problem is that by doing that, if they didn't have like fucking military grade encryption on that, somebody can hack it.
Yep.
And somebody can get it. But here's the thing. It's not like that with just Crunchyroll. It's like that with any fucking body. It's like it with Amazon Prime. It's like it with fucking Netflix, PlayStation, Nintendo. Anybody that has a subscription and you tell it to auto pay that subscription, it's going to save that information. If they don't have good encryption, your shit can be stolen. Period. End of it all. That's how it works. That's what people sit at their fucking keyboards into the wee hours of the morning drinking fucking Red Bull Monsters and as much espresso as they can. That's what they do. They try to get into that shit.
Yeah. It's of course someone managed to do it. Which is, like they always say, if you're a hacker, you want to pay the hacker, right? Like, oh, you hacked into my system, let me hire you, right? These people are like, no, we don't want to be hired. We just want to blackmail you and give us money, which is the worst, really, kind of hackers, really, because there's good hackers out there. There are good hackers out there.
What that means is that hacker is not hacking them for the money. That's not why they hack. They might be trying to blackmail them, but that's not what the ultimate goal is. Because if that motherfucker turns down the ability to be paid regularly to do what he just did, he's not in it for the money. He was in it because he wanted to hurt Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Period. It ain't got shit to do with money. Because I can tell you right now that Amazon alone paid boo-koodles of people outside of their company for finding exploits in their system.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that did that shit, got paid $5,000 because he found a hole in their system and was able to tell them about it. They were able to verify it, fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what that guy does right now? Gets paid 6 figures a year to be on their security team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There ain't nobody that really wants money gonna turn down a regular 6-figure paycheck instead of having to sneak around and do shit unless they're actually trying to hurt the company itself.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
have some kind of vendetta or grudge, period.
I can totally understand that. But yeah, I was just like, I was amazed that Crunchyroll is just like denying and not wanting to like. I understand you don't want to pay the hacker, you know, and if you come out and say you did it, you have to accept, right? That, and that's to be like a bad for your brand, is to make it look bad.
Right.
Well, you already did bad by not making sure your system was tight.
So like for example, I'm gonna tell you right now, could I hack some shit? I probably could. Do I want to? No, hell no. But if I ever hack somebody and they told me, hey, I'll pay you anything more than what I'm making right now, and all I have to do is keep other people from doing what I just did, please, put me on the payroll.
It's like, you know, hey, I digged a hole inside your home. You want to pay me to make sure that hole stays closed? And then find the other hole that I can get in from? Sure. I'll dig every day. Let me get into your place, and then you pay me a fat sum to show you how I did it. Then make sure no one else could do it. Sure. I think that's a great thing. Just again, there's good hackers out there, and I think, even though in some ways this is bad, because if the person decides to go, if they actually do want money, well, they have people's information, they can do it, or they can blackmail those people for which they have the information from. This also, you know, gets Crunchyroll off their asses and going, okay, we need to bolster our security and make sure our subscribers are more safe, instead of worrying about, you know, your message that you're trying to force into anime that's not there in the first place. Which, by the way, also Japan's not here. Like, they're now on X now, and they're hearing more and more about things that animator developers or studios like Crunchyroll are doing to animes, and they're getting pissed about it. And there might be some ratifications for those things happening to their anime, because again, that's their stuff, and they're bringing it to America, and then America's changing it.
I couldn't hear you. Right. And she's true. She's right about that too. Other than the blackmail, we don't know what other stipulations they may have given Crunchyroll either.
Yeah. I'm sure they're not gonna be like, hey, yeah, here's the full information of the email giving the blackmail information of what our demands on. We just know one of the demands were some money, but the other demands might have been more severe.
Right. She's saying it's a little sus that they would be ignoring it if it's only a cash amount, because most companies will pay a cash amount. So it makes you wonder, what else are they asking them for besides money that they're not wanting to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
probably more dangerous, more critical, maybe make their image look even worse.
And then her other point is if they're asking for a cash amount and that's all they want, Crunchyroll's not paying it, then why aren't they going ahead and hacking the cards and taking the money that way? If they're not doing that, then there's more to it than just fucking money.
Yeah, like I said, like it seems odd if they really were money, they could easily go out the cards they have and just start taking money that way. I guess they're not, like, maybe they're not comfortable with like actually wiring the money to themselves to the cards, because then they'll see where the cards money is leading to. I don't know how about hacking.
I don't know about that. If they're good enough to hack somebody like Crunchyroll, they're good enough to bounce that fucking money around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I wouldn't know, because I've never done stuff before. So I just say, I would imagine they have some way of getting that money if they really wanted it, but I'm curious now to know what possibly that Crunchyroll is not willing to give these people for the safety of their customers. Because really, at the end of the day, it is about the customers and their safety. And Crunchyroll is gambling, not giving that away in order to safeguard whatever they're being asked to give to these hackers, other than just money, which is a good possibility. So I'm just giving my tattoo a little bit of some lotion. Anyways, so yeah, that's it for this week. Do you have a little more topic? Do you have any more things you want to talk about?
Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna go eat a couple of pieces of pizza and then get with my oldest about cleaning up this living room.
Yay, living room cleaning. Hoping next week, if anybody's joining us next week, we're gonna hopefully having some little guest star joining us in the podcast. So hopefully y'all be
That's
able
the
to
plan.
hopefully
That's
we'll
the plan.
let y'all see that little guest star next week. If you haven't hit already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below if you're watching the VOD, aka not watching this live. And for those who are keeping rating, I would love to see more of you in the chat, more often. Be sure to ask questions, and as long as it's not political, religious, or otherwise in those like top 3 or 4 no topics. But anyways, have a good day, have a good night, have a good life. Much love, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye. No, I said bye, not hi.
His jokes are sometimes crude and sometimes ass. With his wife of 15 years, there's always having his back. Even when his dogs and cats are being a pain in the ass, he hopes this will always last. Even bring the fun to the masses, rolling, dueling, beating every dungeon classes. With his goofy faces and voice all over the places, he hopes to never give up on his